Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and we are back again. I made this Stamina Nightblade build a little while ago, and I actually live streamed it to Kick and to YouTube as well. But the quality on it, I was not impressed with. When streaming to both, like I was confined to what Twitch, or not Twitch, but what Kick has the ability to run at, and I didn't like the quality of the video over here on YouTube. And also, because it was a live stream, anybody that didn't catch it live, I think, is having a hard time finding it as well to be able to go back and look at it. So I'm just making the video, and there's a little bit of an update to it too. I changed a little bit about it. I'm going to try to not go into so much depth with the build and explain why I did everything the way I did, in order to try to make these videos not quite as long. With that being said, let's kind of get into it. Let's buff ourselves up. $15,000 magicka, 23,000 health, 31,000 stamina, 16 stamina recovery. You got a 5228 weapon damage, a critical rating of 65.4, penetration is at 4613, and when we have our shade or our twisting path out, we are at 19, almost 20,000 spell resistance and 19.2 in physical resistance. So helping keep ourselves a little bit less squishy and mitigating some damage. This is a dark elf build right now, and I do have 64 points all in stamina. We are using purple Dubious Camoran Throne for this build. Obviously, our Tam Takeaway Broth would work with this as well. The Lavafoot Soup and Saltreese will work if you have problems with your sustain, but I don't think you should. If you follow the way that I have this set up, I think you'll be just fine. But trying to make these builds with cheaper food options and still be able to hit really good numbers, so that you're not having to you're not sacrificing health because you have to use Lavafoot, and you're not sacrificing sustain because you want to have health. So we're kind of going both directions here. But the Dubious provides us with recovery, stamina, and max health. The Lavafoot would provide us with more max stamina, more recovery, but no health. So being able to use a purple food and still hit well above 100k is really nice. Our inventory, we're going to have two different setups here, so I want to try to get through it real quick here. We are using Reliquin's weapons. I got a Nirnhoned dagger and a charge dagger. Nirnhoned is flame damage, poison damage on the charged, and then the weapons and jewelry are also Reliquin's perfected. Reliquin's is a medium armor set that is found in the Cloud Rush trial. You do not need the perfected version. It only provides another 1,000 maximum stamina for you. If you don't have the perfected version, it's going to affect the numbers a little bit, but not as much as you would. It's not a necessity. You don't need perfected. Normal Reliquins will do really good damage as well. The jewelry are all in Bloodthirsty with the weapon and spell damage glyphs on them. The back bar weapon, we are using the Maelstrom's Perfected Greatsword. Once again, you do not need perfected for this. The only difference is 1190 offensive penetration, which doesn't mean anything on the trial Atronach, because you're already at cap. And for all the longer you are on the back bar applying dots, even in content, you're not going to notice a difference. But this weapon is found from completing normal or veteran Maelstrom Arena. We are using an infused trait on this with a weapon and spell damage enchantment. The tooltip on this is going to look different right now than what like anybody on update 43 is seeing. Update 44, they just changed this to, instead of it being a flat number, I think it used to be 560 for each direct damage that you did. Now it's just a 7% to 12%. After testing it both ways at this point, it doesn't seem like it's a nerf or a buff. I think it just stays pretty much the same. Our Zon head and shoulders. I have one light and one heavy. I got a heavy head and light shoulders because of the passives that the Nightblades have. We don't need the 6 medium for the extra critical strike damage. We are already at critical strike cap, so using the 1 light and 1 heavy with everything else medium gives us the bonus from the Undaunted passive for extra, a little bit extra health, a little bit extra magic, a little bit extra stamina. And with using a dark elf like I am with this build right here, that little bit extra health goes a long way. The Zon helm can be acquired from completing Scale Color Peak on Vet, and the epaulets can be purchased with keys from the Orc Undaunted lady that gives the DLC quests. We are using Highland Sentinel. This is a craftable armor that if you cannot craft it yourself, you can easily find a master crafter in one of your guilds or even one out in zone that would be more than willing to help you craft it. If you find it in zone, you might have to pay a little bit of scratch for it, but I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. You'll find good people that are willing to help and do it free or very cheap. So all of these pieces are all in medium, and the Highland Sentinel, that is, we have all in medium, and everything on the body is maximum stamina with the Divine's trait. Forgot to go over this. We are using the Thief Mundus Stone for critical strike rating. Now, just a word of the wise here. The Highland Sentinel, this works great for the Trial Atronach. In some content, and a lot of content, honestly, it's not going to work that great. You have to be able to hold still to stack up this Highland Sentinel. So if you're in a fight that is a lot of movement where you're constantly moving, or doing ice cages or portals or whatever you need to, this will not be for you. In that situation, I would suggest actually putting the reliquins on the body, and then going with the weapons and jewelry of maybe like Pillars and Urn or the Aegis Collar or something like that. Those two right there, those sets mix very well together and deal a lot of damage as well. But like I said, if if you have to move around a lot, this is not going to be the set for you, plain and simple. If you are not good at light and heavy attack weaving, light attack weaving especially, you could trade out like the reliquins for something like what is that? You could trade out the reliquins for the Coral Riptide or Basai Mania or something like that. Now, both of those, there is like with Basai's Mania, there's a little Magicka mini game you'd have to play with keeping your Magicka low to get the best bonus out of it. And with the Coral Riptide, there is a stamina mini game that you would have to play to keep your stamina low to get the most out of it. So they both come with pros and cons, obviously. Our champion tree, green tree, do whatever you want. Red tree, I would suggest at least Boundless Vitality slotted, and make sure you have your Hero's Vigor. These two are going to give you the most maximum health that you can possibly get, and then kind of do whatever you like with them in there afterwards. Blue tree, we have Wrathful Strikes, Deadly Aim, Master at Arms, all slotted. And this one is the fourth one is kind of up to you, whatever you like. I use Weapons Expert. I like more damage from my light and heavy attacks because I can light attack weave. And that extra 20% damage really does, the light attacks do a ton of damage. If you wanted to put like Untamed Aggression or Biting Aura or Thaumaturge on there, you definitely could do any of those as well with this build, but by no means should you ever put on Fighting Finesse or Backstabber unless you're going into like 4-man content and you don't have the ability to hit the critical strike damage cap. Then obviously you could go with Fighting Finesse or Backstabber in either one of those situations and get more critical strike damage out of it. But if you're in a well-organized group for like trials and whatnot, definitely don't go with either of these because you're already sitting at the 125% cap. Also, when you have the points, make sure you do fill in like your Starving Death, your Blessed, the Eldritch Insight, the Precision, the Timeless Discipline, everything in Extended Might, that all the passives that don't need to be slotted that you can fill in that benefit you. Skills, when we're going to do two-hand and dual wield, are going to look like this. Stampede, Debilitate, Twisting Path. The Reaper's Mark here, this is flexible. You can put whatever you want here. I just have Reaper's Mark here for more critical strike chance on this front bar, which it's not helping a whole lot, but whatever. Leeching Strikes, I have this on here. I'm not, like the setup I have here doesn't require you to use this to be able to get back Magicka and Stamina, but it's there in case you need it. But while it's slotted, you gain 1944 health every second that you're doing damage. So you're constantly healing yourself. And with the Major Resolve passive that you get from the Twisting Path and from the Dark Shade, you're always going to have Major Resolve up. So you're making yourself less squishy and giving yourself passive heals. It's going to make your healer happy. I have Incapacitating Strikes on both front and back bar. On the back bar, you can change this out for something else if you wanted to. The Incapacitating Strikes is a nice ability. It does damage up front, then it lets you do 20% more damage for 8 seconds. And if you cast it above 120 ultimate, it does even more damage up front and increases the bonus damage by another 4 seconds up to 12 seconds. So the very first time we use this, we're gonna have full ultimate, and we're gonna get 12 seconds out of it. But there's really no reason at that point to let it build up to 120. Like, so when it hits 70, you can use it then. It's the time it takes to get to that, to gain another 50 ultimate. You could have already been that much closer to another ultimate, another Incapacitating Strike. So hit this at 70 is what I'm saying. On our front bar, we are using Merciless Resolve. This is the every time we do a light attack, this gives us a stack of weapon and spell damage, and when at 5 stacks, we can use the Spectral Bow. We're going to make sure we're hitting the Spectral Bow every time it procs, until we get to Execute phase. Once we get to Execute phase, we're not going to be hitting this anymore. We're just going to let that weapon and spell damage stack stay on there for our Killer's Blade to do as much damage. With the dual wield build, we are using Surprise Attack. This is a class ability that I'm so happy that works with this, because a lot of builds right now are using more weapon abilities than class abilities, and the fact that the surprise attack does good damage up front sets things off balance and guaranteed to be a critical strike from a flank every 3 seconds, which isn't a big deal. All really nice things to happen, but this also applies this under status effect every time you use it, and it actually makes this very viable to use. Killer's Blade, when we get to about 30, when we get below 30, between 35 and 30% is when we're going to start using Killer's Blade. And this is just our spammable executability. Once we get to that, 30% range right there, we're not going to use the Merciless Resolve or Surprise Attack. We're just going to be, Killer Blading. We do have Barb Trap on this as well for our bleed damage over time, and our Minor Force for critical damage done. Nice little utility ability there. And then we are using Dark Shade as well. This guy is he's a nice little addition to the rotation. He does damage every 2 seconds. He provides minor maim, and he's just 22 seconds worth of passive damage. Well, not passive, but 22 seconds worth of damage that allows you to get as many of your spammable surprise attacks in. Now, the Merciless Resolve, this is the Magicka version of this. I chose the Magicka version rather than the Stamina version, mainly for the sustainability of the build. This does the Merciless Resolve does more damage when the Spectral Bow procs than the Stamina version, but the Stamina version will actually give you it'll stack up to 400 weapon and spell damage rather than stacking up to 300 weapon and spell damage. So they both have their pros and cons. I've went with Merciless Resolve for the extra damage that it does when you actually pull the trigger on it, so to speak. And we're not using stamina as well. It's given us the ability to sustain with purple food for that reason. Now, the rotation is pretty simple. I'm going to activate my shade. I am going to run in and throw down my trap. Then I'm going to bar swap. I'm going to light attack Stampede, light attack Debilitate, light attack Twisting Path, bar swap. And then I'm going to light attack Surprise Attack. That's going to be the first thing I do as soon as I come onto this front bar. I'm going to light attack, Surprise Attack, literally just for the chance that when you hit an enemy from the flank, it sets them off balance. After I do that, I am going to hit him with Merciless Resolve. When if they are off balance, it's going to let this Spectral Bow do a ton more damage. But we're gonna hit our Spectral Bows when they proc. We're going to spam our Surprise Attack, and when there's only about a second left on the Stampede on the front bar, we're going to light attack Barb Trap, light attack Dark Shade, bar swap, and start over. Might sound a little bit difficult, but once you do it a few times, you're like, man, that's kind of simple, and it will be, I promise. Now, you will see this Twisting Path does fall off. It falls off for a couple seconds. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about trying to bar swap back and reapply it and bar swap. Unless you're really good with dynamically rotating like that, then by all means do that. But if you just want static, don't worry about it falling off. It's not going to cause a problem. All right, let's go over the par. Let's do the parse for the double two-hand build here, and hope that the PTS server is not being as laggy as it has been. This is like my 4th attempt to make this video, and unfortunately the light attack weaving that is always pretty janky with the two-hand anyway is even more so, it seems like, right now on the PPS. I don't know if there's a little bit more latency because the servers don't get as much love as the live servers. I don't know. There it was again. No, not getting my light attacks. Again it was, and again. Shouldn't have hit that alt. We're going to go ahead and get into our execute phase now. All right, a little bit janky there. Some of it could have been me, some of it could have been the server, but 110,154 when we go into our combat metrics here. We did 17.6 million of critical damage. We did 3.3 million of normal damage for an even 84-16 split. We were running at 87% critical strike rating, 125% critical strike damage. Our buffs that we had up, we kept our Merciless Charge and our Minor Force and our Major Resolve. Like our Major Resolve was up 98% of the time. That's crazy right there. That's one of the nice things about this build. Like we went over in the gear in the skills section, where we have that passive for using what was it? Shadow abilities, I think it is. Let me check. Make sure I'm getting this completely right. Yeah, shadow abilities. When we use a shadow ability, we get a physical and spell resistance buff, the Major Resolve, for 14 seconds. And because we are using we get it for 12 seconds and we get an extra 2 seconds out of it because we are using the one piece of heavy armor, the headpiece from the Zaun. And using that and having our Twisting Path and our Dark Shade up the way that we do, It caused us to have a 98% uptime on our major resolve, which is great because that's making us a little more hardy. It's making us easier to heal for the most part. We're mitigating damage and keeping ourselves alive with two damage dealing abilities, very similar to like the Sork's Hurricane or Lightning form will do. It provides the major resolve plus does damage. Those are two classes that that is a nice benefit to being able to make yourself hardier. Had an 83% uptime on our major expedition. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of extra speed right there. Empowered didn't matter, but it was 57% of the time. Major Berserk, this is nice here. That's a good uptime, 57%, considering that 30% of the time we were using an execute. When we got to that 30% range, we were using Killer's Blade, and we had stopped using the Wrecking Blow, which was what was providing us with the Major Berserk. So the uptime on that is pretty good considering so. Our debuffs, we're looking at our Arms of Reliquant 95% of the time. That's very nice. Debilitate, Barb Trap, Minor Maim, all of those were up 99% of the time. Burning was up 54% of the time. That's pretty nice. Overcharged 46% of the time. Diseased 43%. Minor Defile 43%. Zawn 42%. Sundered. Hemorrhaging. Like a lot of different debuffs on the Trial Atronach that we were providing, not being provided by it. So those are always nice. The Wrecking Blow obviously came in first place with damage, 20,000 damage, averaged 56, maxed at 70. The Killer's Blade, and we only used this 30% of the time, and it came in second place. This is why the execute spam of the Killer's Blade is so important. This thing critted at 91%. It averaged 90k per strike, maxed out at 139k. That's huge. What can we say about light attacks and Arms of Reliquant that we haven't before? 14,881 and Arms of Reliquant 8,354. That is 25 almost. 24 almost. Right at 24,000 damage per second because of light attack weaving while using Arms of Reliquants. It's very important. If you don't know how to light attack weave, just that right there, practice it. Like, look how much damage that's creating. Merciless Resolve, we only used this 16 total times throughout that parse. And keep in mind, we never used it during execute phase either. We stopped using it and then just, let those stacks of the Merciless Resolve buff our weapon and spell damage. So 16 times we hit this, 15 times it critted for a 94% crit rating, which is crazy. 8,800 damage over the course of the fight, only doing 16 of the 1,500 damage ticks that we had go off were the Merciless Resolve, and they came in fourth place. It averaged 105k, maxed out at 120k. Corrosive Drain is our Shade that's out. He did 5,500. Twisting Path 48, Stampede 46. Zawn and Burning. Burning was a little bit lower than normal. Not a whole lot, but definitely was a little bit lower than we're used to seeing. I don't think it went off. Maybe our Zawn didn't proc as much. No, we got 80 ticks on it. That's about normal. Burning just didn't do it. It did it, obviously. It was still 3k damage, and Zawn was 41. So, literally, literally, 7K damage per second just from wearing the Zon. So I guess we can't really complain about that. It's just it's 7,000 damage per second just from wearing 2 pieces of gear. Debilitate was 3,800, Barb Trap 31, Incapacitating Strikes 29, Befouled Weapon. This is our glyph on our 2-handed weapon. This critted every time it went off. That's crazy. 100% of the time. Incapacitating Strikes did as well. Not so impressive as the 44 of 44. That's crazy that all 44 of those critted. That's awesome, actually. Stampede, it always crits, 100%. The overcharge status effect, the hemorrhaging status effect, standard status effect, disease status effect, there's just a lot of different things that go into this build that are producing damage. So that is the 2-hand portion of this. We will change out things right quick. And show the dual wield and 2-hand. As soon as I remember which direction to go. Oh yeah, I'm using, don't mind me. I can't get it right today. My brain is not braining. So we put on the surprise attack, and then we go with our daggers. And the only difference here is instead of wrecking blows, we're going to be surprise attacking. So let's buff ourselves up. And you're going to see these are very similar in damage dealing. So if you like the aspect of class identity, using class abilities, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this a lot. Now the light attack weaving with the dual wield seems a lot smoother than with the 2-hand, especially on the PTS here. Wait to hit that ultimate until the next rotation to get the full effect out of it. Once again, we're going to wait for the next rotation. We're going to wait on this ultimate again because the next rotation is when we're going to start execute phase here. We're 32% right now, so we can start execute. again, we'll wait for that ultimate. We're not going to bar swap anymore. We're just going to push right through to the end of this. And there you have it. 111,663. So a little bit better than the two-hand wrecking blow spam. Similar damage output, 17.3 and critical 3.6 normal for an 82 and a half, 75 and a half split. Still at 87% weapon critical strike chance. The critical damage is at our 125% cap. Our surprise attack came in first, averaging 47, maxed at 57, critted at 93%. That's amazing. Once again, Killer's Blade comes in second place. It averages 86, hits for 133. Reliquin and light attack. Here we go again with these. That's 20k worth of damage just from having on Reliquins and having and doing a light attack weave. Merciless Resolve, very similar to last time. 16 times we called it out, 15 times of it critted. It averaged 8,400 DPS. The average was 99, almost 100k, maxed out at 113. Our Shade did 53, Twisting Path 47. Zaun and Burning were better this time around than they were with the two-hand, the double two-hand build. 47 and 43, so we're looking at 9k damage just from wearing two pieces of gear. Actually, Burning had a little bit more uptime because I do have a fiery weapon enchantment on one of the daggers here. So that's helping proc the burning status effect. Debilitate 39, Sundered 37. That right there is why this the surprise attack was right in line with the wrecking blow, is because the Sundered status effect that the surprise attack will apply. It averaged another 3,700 on top of the 1,700 the surprise attack does. So, I mean, you're looking at over 20k just from using surprise attack. Barb Trap. We do have the charged weapon in one hand with the poison glyph on it, and this has helped us proc our poison status effect that added another 2,100 damage to the parse. So that's a nice little uptick right there. Our light attacks from our two-handed weapon were at 1,900 here. Overcharged status effect because of the debilitate. Stampede again. Our poison weapon fired off pretty well. Our fiery weapon fired off pretty well. We provided some diseased damage. So our uptimes, our Sundered stayed up 83% of the time. Merciless Resolve 73% of the time. Major Expedition 92. Our Weapon Enchantment 98. Major Resolve 98. Minor Force 99. Arms of Reliquin stayed up 99% of the time. Sundered 83% of the time. Burning 74% of the time. Sundered 71% of the time. Poisoned 49% of the time. Zaun 48% of the time. So a lot of different status effects going off. A lot of different damage dealing passives that we have, so to speak, on our... our dots are providing damage plus status effects. Our weapon glyphs are providing damage plus status effects. Our surprise attack is doing the same thing. So they all add up to a really good number right there on a rotation that is a little bit easier than the wrecking blow spam. The light attack weaving seems to be a lot easier with it. So if you're not into the two hand and you're looking for something with more class identity, this is it right here. But I don't want to take up any more of your time, guys. This has already been a very long video, so thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to give me a like and a follow here on YouTube, and if you would like to see more live content done, live streaming stuff where I can interact more with people and try different things out that people want to see done, then by all means head on over to Kick and give me a follow on there, and shoot me a message. Let me know that's something that you're interested in, and we can set that up to go over anything that you might like. But the Kick name on there is _Beav BEAV 01, and give me a follow there, and we can do that. We can go over some things you might be interested in as well. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly, and happy adventuring.